Good evening, everybody. Peter Robbins with Wargaming with Peter. I have esteemed guests Mariano Sciaroni and Jorge Boveda of Argentina, uh, who I both call friends at this point, right?
Yeah.
All right. So tell me, what have you both been up to? It's been a good while since we spoke. I think it's been about a good year almost,
I,
right, or more.
a year,
Yeah,
yes,
more or
Yeah.
less. Yeah.
yes. I think we ended talking about the Handbrake, the last book of
Mm,
regarding the superetendards.
mm-hmm.
It was our last chat.
Yeah, I think it was probably around this time last year. I
Yes,
guess I've
one
lost track of my years.
more or less.
Mariano is a more prolific author than I am.
You're just you're slow
Uh,
bake.
Slow pen.
You're like the George R. R. Martin of Argentina.
Well, I managed to get a firm interested in the English version of my book, and it was published very recently in Argentina, in Spanish.
Your book on
All for one and one for all now
yeah,
is
okay,
available in Spanish.
very good, very good. Which publisher, if you don't mind me asking?
El Cazador.
Okay,
It's
The Hunter.
the Hunter. It's an Argentine editor.
very good. So speaking of Espanol version, our lovely go find him and bring me back his hat, the infamous quote from Woodward, right? And so you're working on a Spanish version of it, correct? And when does that due out, Mariano?
Yeah, I think the Spanish version will be published in late March, early April next year. So
Okay.
I quickly I sold Jorge's idea about the
Okay.
publisher. I sold the idea of being the El Cazador, the publisher too. So yes,
Okay.
I sold with no remorse all the Jorge's ideas, and the
Yes.
book is going to be published here, but with a twist. The book, the original book, is centered in anti-submarine warfare, really. But in the Spanish version, Fernando Escueta, the commander, submarine San Luis commander, is really involved in the book. So we ended with a lot of ideas, and the book will be shortly about submarine and anti-submarine warfare. It's centered in the San Luis and is centered in the forces uh, battling against San Luis. So it's not about anti-submarine warfare, but submarine warfare too.
Hmm.
And well, with all the input of the San Luis officers and the commander, and really with a lot of new declassified information here in Argentina this year and the last one. So well, it will be a very interesting book, not a Spanish version, but really an really updated and yes, updated version of the original one, not centered only in anti-submarine warfare, but in submarine warfare. So the new material is big. Mostly,
It will be
sorry.
more appealing to the Spanish public.
Yes,
I
yes,
I see. I
yes.
think mm,
All things regarding submarines is very
they're always very very demanding in the Argentine public, which want to know more about it. Of these issues.
yes.
Right.
The drawback is that the book is still very technical. It's not for a big publisher,
Mhm.
but a niche publisher. You have a lot of details about, for example, speed of the torpedoes, snake patterns, so angle of the bow. So it's very technical too. Really, I like technical books. I'm a fan of
Right.
Tom Clancy or Larry Bond. So yeah, well, I write books I want to read.
Hmm.
This is why I write books, because want to read. Well, so
You mean it's not for the general public? It's more or less for the expert in anti-submarine warfare.
no, not the expert ones, but the public that's really likes Tom Clancy and the details of
Right,
the sonar modes. Yes, us.
I
Sorry.
feel like
us.
yeah. I feel like, but well, sure, yeah, exactly, right. But yeah, I mean, people who like history. I mean, most.
Yeah.
I feel like both of your books have been approachable, right? I think you take the time to describe the technical parts well. I don't know everything about all of these particular things, especially in this book. Go Find Him, where you go into the different pieces of equipment and so forth, as well as on a carrier at risk, which I just reread as well. So I didn't know everything about Jezebel or the radar domes and the trackers and so forth. So, but you explained it very well.
Okay.
Jorge, I remember, I think at one point you had shown me, if I'm not mistaken, you had shown me a Spanish book you had written
Previously,
yeah, on
yes,
Santa Fe,
yes.
right?
That's right. I have it.
Yeah.
I have it right here. I'll show
Yes,
it
please.
to you.
Because I want to get you to. I want somebody to buy this too. Because, ooh, nice. Okay, so you did get it published.
This one, yes.
Yeah.
This was never translated into English. This is a Spanish version, which was very well received with the Argentine public, especially the Navy, because it was the first book I think that started to tell the story of the war veterans in Malvinas.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get any other book of on Navy operations, you will find out that it's after 2007, 2007, which was when my book was released. So it was like an open, it opened the field for many authors to follow, and I was called by many other units to write their book. And I said, guys, sorry, but I've been 10 years writing this book. I can't start again. So sorry, but I was working at the time in All for One and One for All, which was most of my research was for a commission book that was given by the Navy, which finally didn't come out. It was the official history of the Argentine Navy in the Falklands and Malvinas. That book, finally, the Navy decided not to publish it. So I used much of that material in my master's thesis, which was the backbone of my second book, All for One and One for All. Yeah. That's more or less that's why it's I have it took me so long to write this book, because I had to interview lots of veterans, and I didn't have at the time access to the secret information in the Navy, official Navy papers, which at the end they were I was made a part of it. I was granted access to that secret information, those secret files, but and that's why everybody tells me that it has lots and lots of info, because I took the time to speak with the veterans, so
right.
It's always richer than a cold report. You know what I mean.
Right. And if I remember right, if I recall correctly, you had let me read it, and I think you had anonymized, you had
yes,
used anonymous.
I had to use the original text was written as if I was the second in command, telling what happened. At the last moment, the sons of the second in command, which had died many years ago after the conflict, now they are both captains in the Argentine Navy. At the time, they were lieutenants, and they summoned me to their home, and they told me, "Look, we like the book; it's fantastic, but we wouldn't like that our father was telling the story." And I I was shocked by that, because I had to introduce this fiction crew member, to tell a story, which is a capital sin for any historian. That's a capital sin. So I sent it to the Journal of Military History after publishing the book, and they said, "Look, the book is fantastic, but you can't." Or we're speaking about history, or we're speaking about novel, and this is pure history. So apart from that detail, which is not by far, it's not a minor detail, but the book is written in a style that as if a crew member were telling the story. So it's much easy to read, and much easy to engage in the story, than the All for One and One for All, which is the typical essay, history essay, which is more boring always. We like of course, we like the issue at hand, but for a general reader, probably they would choose this one rather than the other one.
So, Mariano, I don't know how much you want to reveal here, but I mean, what are some of the most revealing revelations, if you will, from the released materials?
I
if you want
think
to summarize it.
the torpedo problems are the most interesting. Because the Navy declassified all the records and files and trials, because it was a huge trial regarding the failures of the SST-4 torpedoes, the German ones. So the big mystery of the 1982 war regarding submarines is why the San Luis failed with the attacks, because the San Luis engaged the targets in three opportunities. In two opportunities, the targets are legitimate, so are enemy targets, and San Luis failed. So San Luis was successful because evaded and returned to port with all the crews and so on. But the submarine attacked twice and failed. And this is a big mystery. What happened with the torpedoes? And the torpedo, it's a very interesting story. The story starts in 1979. The Armada Argentina went to Germany and said, we want the brand new torpedoes, the newer ones, well, we have this SST-4s. These are torpedoes are new, are untested. The Greek Navy are ordering these ones, and they are the best. Well, give me 30 of these torpedoes. The Argentina Navy say, well, and the tests, well, you must to pay for the tests. So in a tight budget, the Argentina Navy say, well, we are not going to pay for the tests, but we could embark in a Greek submarine to watch the launches. Yeah, you could do that. So at the end, the Greek says, okay. The Argentinian says, well, if these torpedoes are good for the Greeks, are good for me. So the Argentina Navy accepted the torpedoes in service. But when the torpedoes came to Argentina, the torpedoes are really a failure. Over a large number of exercises, the torpedo failure every time. So the Argentinian Navy went to Germany again and said, well, these torpedoes are a failure because we don't work. And if they work, if they run at all, the active mode are useless. We couldn't engage a target in active mode. And the German says, well, this is the year's 1974. Your warranty expires last year, 1973. So we couldn't do that. So sorry,
Sorry.
big sorry. Argentina say,
Big
well,
sorry.
but guys,
After paying millions of millions
yes,
of
the Argentina Navy say, well,
Reichsmarks.
but I already ordered a torpedo factory from Germany. This is not good. Well, you ordered a factory of torpedoes. Yes, but because Argentina ordered a large factory of torpedoes, so the Germans say, well, we could do certain things with the torpedoes and did nothing really. But Argentina Navy, of course, did well. So they ended with the torpedoes along the sea in an open warehouse. So the birds are all over the torpedoes, and the poo-poo of the birds are inside the torpedoes, and the salt and the torpedoes are expiring. And after all, the Argentina Navy says, we could test again the torpedoes with a warhead. No, it's very expensive. Why? No, just exercise. What? And if the exercise failed, well, we are going to take notice that the torpedo fails. Well, good. So at the end, when the war started, the torpedoes are useless by design. The torpedoes are useless because there's a time they are in when we're in a warehouse for a long time without climate control or certain things, without
The same
repairing.
thing happened
Calibration.
to the engine to one of the engines of the San Luis,
Yes,
which had a problem at the beginning of 1982, and the guarantee had expired a year earlier, so
yes,
they never could they were never able to repair it. So the San Luis had 3 engines instead of 4 during the war. That's I talked about this to one of the Navy's most senior experts in submarine warfare, which was Captain Aumann, a colleague of my father, a classmate of my father of the academy, of the Naval Academy, and he couldn't understand that the Navy hadn't, triggered the guarantee on time and let it expire. That means clearly, and I stated in my book, All for One and One for All, that the submarines were a second-class weapon system for the Argentine Navy. They were never a priority for the Navy. The priority of the Navy was the aircraft carrier and the surface ships. Never the submarines. Never.
the submarine force was a training tool for the surface
Was a training
Navy.
tool, exactly.
Just
So
that.
it was a secondary part of the Argentine Navy culture, you know.
Yes.
And if
that's the
I
most reason. That's the most clear proof what Mariano is saying of the torpedoes and what I'm saying about the engines. It's unthinkable that something like this would happen in the U.S. Navy. It's or any other Navy. It's unthinkable. Really.
at the time they were rotating sailors through
Yes.
the
Yes.
submarine.
Well, that's
all of them.
another thing.
Yeah.
The COs of the submarines that went to war were the ones that came, with what we say the normal shifts of the different crews, instead of recalling the former COs that had been working with the subs the year before. That's another thing that it hasn't no answer. The guys were in Germany adapting to the new subs, the new boats, the TRs 700. That was one of my first questions. Why didn't they recall the veteran COs that had worked with the sub, especially when you have 3 subs? We're not talking about 200 subs. We're talking about 3 subs. They were not. Nevertheless, I must say that these skippers were very good. They had a good performance in war, but the truth is they shouldn't have been never appointed. If I had been the Navy commander-in-chief, I would have called immediately the former commanders. You're going to war with 3 boats.
Hmm.
You don't have any time to to spare training with new COs. You know, I
Yeah, I
think
think
it's clear what I'm saying, no?
yeah, I think you touched upon that in your book too, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
where it
That's
was kind of
another thing that's
culture,
inexplicable.
right? It was
Inexplicable.
almost a Navy culture at the time.
Yes,
It was a Navy culture to
yes, they carried on with the with the normal shifts of the crew.
yeah,
When you go to war, you get the best crew to the best ship. You know, that's what you usually do.
right.
The
I mean,
same
some of those,
we could say the same with the Type 42 destroyers. I
right?
spoke to many of the former officers. They had never, ever fired a missile, a sea dart in anger. They did it at the beginning of the war because they even, with the policy of let's save money and don't launch any missiles. That's stupid when you go to war. You have to be ready. You need that readiness because otherwise you're going to fail. Like Mariano has already said, you need training uh, in actual war conditions, real war conditions. Um, the British said it from their side, which they also were failing a lot in training in real battle conditions. So one of the lessons of the war, said by many of the COs in command, they said this was a test under live combat conditions. Argentina didn't do any training under live combat conditions. Now they do, but now we don't have any missiles, so we are we are pretty fucked up.
Yes,
Anyway,
yes. Well, yes, as Jorge says, the Argentinian submarine force command is it really was a training tool. Just that, you know that in the San Luis, an engine broke in 1976, and all says, well, but we need the submarine to train the surface units. Well, we don't need four engines. Three engines
with
are
three,
enough,
it's enough with three. Yeah, it's enough
enough
with
with
three.
three for a training tool. So well, it is okay, and everything is like that. And if you check the all these systems in the
And
San Luis,
Mariano, remember that there was in government, it was a military government. So
yes,
what can you expect from a civil government?
yeah. No, no. So all the systems on the San Luis are really are for a new submarine are out of condition, and this is
it
why.
was it was a brand new sub or boat with which hadn't been tested to the limit.
Yes, and everything is yes. For a time, well, for a time, this the last the 70s decade and the early 80s were
Yeah.
are very, the technology is still in
Was
the infancy.
yes, was good
So
enough
so
for the Navy. Yeah.
say yes, but all the technology in general is, well, you have, but from valvular to electronics, the computers are in infancy, especially related to the military. But in the particular case of Argentina, this is a plus that nothing cares about. Nothing.
Mhm.
So well, this is broken. Well, it's okay. In the future we are going to fix it.
The current
Fix that.
fleet
But
has 40 years old. The current fleet is 40 years old. You know,
yes,
it's
yes. So
a museum fleet. It's a museum fleet. The
yes,
current fleet.
yes. And regarding the Mark 37s, the U.S. Navy torpedoes,
Mhm.
that's all another interesting story. But in this case, the Argentinian Navy ordered just a handful of the torpedoes for the Type 209s, and in mid 70s ordered 36 torpedoes in batch of 12s. For the first 12 torpedoes, the Navy accepted all torpedoes because when the Argentinian Navy officer went to the U.S. Navy yards, the torpedoes are all packets. So, well, this is torpedoes. We could test the torpedoes. No, well, accepted. The second batch, the Argentinian Navy says, could we test the torpedoes? No, we are going to pack. No, please don't pack the torpedoes. We are going to test. 12 firings, 6 failings
Mm.
of brand new torpedoes, but brand new
O sea,
refurbished.
50-50,
No,
50-50.
refurbished torpedoes, because the Mark 37 Mode 3 are Mode 0 refurbished. So, well, we are not brand new, but well,
Just just fire
But
twice as many. You'll be
yes,
good.
but you know that the technologies wasn't good enough for all. Even for the U.S. Navy, you are going to pack brand new torpedoes, yeah, and are not ready at all. And for the last pack, the Argentinian Navy said, "Well, we are going to accept a handful." So it's not. Oh, of course, the design is a problem. The technology maturity is a problem. The Argentinian Navy is maintenance protocols are a problem. So mix that, and well, we are going to go to a war. Well, yes, all the
Right.
torpedoes are a failure. So it's not a failure, an entirely failure of the Argentinian Navy. No, it's a failure of the German designers. It's a failure
Mhm.
of the Argentinian maintenance procedures, and it's a failure of the technology of at all. So beside that, for me, the Fernando Cueta, the commander of submarine San Luis, was a superb guy. Went to the war with the submarine. He knows that
In
the
very
weapon
bad conditions. In very bad
he knows
conditions.
the
Yeah.
weapons are not reliable, because he's not responsible for the weapons.
He
He's
wasn't
just
combat ready, and he went
yeah,
anyway.
he's
Yeah.
just
And
loading torpedoes.
the targeting computer had a problem as well,
Yeah,
Yes,
correct?
at
the
the
targeting
beginning of
problem,
the patrol, the fire combat
the fire control computer broken.
fire
The
control computer broke down. Yeah, yeah.
the BM824 broke. So, and well, this another failure of technology. The BM824 is a computer
It's no
of the
surprise.
50s.
It's
It's
no
a
surprise
50s
that we had
computer.
the San Juan problem also.
Yes. So, well, with all that problems, Ascuera went to the war, and they said we are going to well, and he kept the submarine in the patrol area, and only when he knew that the submarine is located and the weapon system is not reliable, says, "I want to go to port, rearm, and sail again." But he stayed 40 days,
But the war
almost 40 days.
ended 74 days later.
Yes, but he was almost 40 days, 39 days at sea. So
39 days at sea. Yeah, that's
it's
right.
a story of heroism, and it's a story of you can do that. But
Mhm.
well, it's
The
not Ascueta's fault.
the Mark 37s were not rated for anti-surface, correct? Am I right remembering that?
No, the Mk-37s are anti-surface and anti-submarine weapons,
Oh, they can
but
do both.
you have a limit, because
Yeah.
the maximum speed of the 37 is 26 knots.
Mm,
So most of the targets at the time are couple of more that
The
speed.
Belgrano
So
was sunk by Mark 38, right?
mhm.
Mark 8,
Mark 8,
Mark
38.
8,
No, Mark 8,
8,
Mark 8, Mark
Mark
8,
8.
which were
So
the corrida recta.
yes, strike torpedo, strike guided
Street
torpedo.
Mhm.
torpedoes, yeah. They were
Uh,
very old but reliable.
yes,
Yeah, if
yes, yes, yes.
I'm looking at the Harpoon 5 data on the Mark 37. It looks like it's half the damage capability of the SST-4 as well. Is that
Mm.
I think its warhead was much
It,
smaller.
yes, much smaller. The torpedo is really small, and the diameter of the torpedo is very
You're right. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
is
it's like 482 millimeters. Looks like. Yeah.
exactly. It's not a big torpedo. The Mod 3 is not wire guided. It's autonomous guided. So you just launch the torpedo. The gyroscope is in the initial run,
Um,
and at
yeah.
around 800 yards, the sonar starts, and we start looking for a target.
Is it
More or
heavy?
less.
Is it heavy?
It's a
Okay.
heavy torpedo, but
Yeah.
is not heavier than the
Ah,
SST-4. Yeah,
okay.
yes, but is with all that, all the people in the Argentinian Navy knew about in what conditions the Mark 37 were accepted from the US Navy. So it's not the people have not the best confidence in the weapon. So yeah, well, this is not the best one. Even in the U.S. Navy hands, the torpedo was a failure. Well,
Mm.
and now it's in our hands. So well, we couldn't expect
Have you read
much more.
which boats the Argentine Navy is seeking to replace these the German subs?
New German ones.
No, no, not German.
Oh, maybe it's is it this
No, no, I'm
this
asking Mariano. Maybe he read something about it.
The
I think
Scorpions,
I think they're going after French boats, but
are they?
Scorpions, Scorpions boats. But we are in a budget problem in Argentina. Us,
and I don't think in the short time we're going to get any boats of any
no,
kind.
no. Our
At least not
president
at
started
least not until somebody
yesterday.
else gets elected.
No. Our president started yesterday, and the initial presentation says we have no money.
No
Several,
money. Yeah, no money.
several times. No money, no money, no money. Several
Well, the
times.
first
So,
time we have a president that tells the truth. That's
There you go.
something
There
good.
you go. There you go.
so I,
They usually lie,
It's
even
Yeah.
in the U.S.
a good start. Yes.
so I don't think they are going to have a submarine force in the short term.
Politicians don't have a good reputation of telling the truth. In this case, he's telling the truth.
Yeah.
So, tell me a little bit more about the. You're working on an article together about the. Is it the?
We haven't started yet, but we're kind of arranging the, with the final end of the year, we are a bit over scheduled with many things, but we have Mariano, correct me if I'm wrong. The idea is to write something about the attack on the Stark in the Persian Gulf, which I didn't know that one of our senior pilots, which was a veteran of the Malvinas, had been advising the U.S. Navy to evade future attacks like the Stark.
Yes.
I didn't know that. Thanks to Mariano, I came to know that, and I thought that it was a good idea to make an article because I didn't know that the U.S. Navy had asked for our for we had this particular officer, Commander Colombo, who was the CO of the Superintendent fighter squadron, had lots of experience sinking ships with Exocet.
Right.
The pity he had only 4. If he had 25, maybe we had managed to sink half the UK fleet.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we only had four Exocets.
Yes. The history as Colombo, who passed away a couple of months ago, was in the U.S. in the Naval War College, working, studying and teaching also. So when the Stark was attacked, the admiral in charge of the Naval War College, someone Colombo, and say, "Well, it looks like you are the people, the man who must know about Exocet."
The most qualified to tell us
To
what happened.
Exocet, yes, you are the people who know Exocet in the US because you were in charge of the an Exocet squadron. You attack with an Exocet. You find time tuning the Exocet.
in real combat conditions.
Yes.
Combat conditions.
So Colombo says, "Well, this is huge. I need to inform and have an approval from Argentina." And then the Argentinian government, the top Argentinian government, the president says, ready to help. So was a senior advisor in the board of inquiry regarding the attack of the Stark. This is a very interesting scenario. The Stark regretted with a lot of lives, regrettably, but it have an Argentinian touch. All the board of inquiry. So maybe with Jorge we talked that it will be too interesting to write about this teeny Argentinian participation in this board of inquiry, and in this regard talk about Colombo, who was a very interesting man. He was fluent in English, in French, and Spanish. He's a has 3 or 4 master degrees, and he's a very interesting man. So maybe it's good to remember him and also talk about a very interesting scenario, and with the current events, maybe an interesting scenario to
You
recall
spoke.
for the future.
Yeah, you spoke.
Yes.
You spoke highly of him in Handbrake as well, if I recall, where he actively, he actively went against the government when they were asking him to do things that were putting his men at risk and
Yes.
so forth. Yeah.
He's
So
really
what's
a bad-tempered man, but
in a good way?
really bad-tempered man. For all,
In
why for example, why you're calling me? What you need? No, captain, because he likes to be addressed as captain, even if he retired as 30 years ago. No, captain. Well, okay, and he's slow down and stuff. But he's a bad mood. For starter, he's a bad mood. And very well,
Yeah.
He should have been promoted to rear admiral, but he had the bad luck that at the time the president had his brother-in-law in the Navy, and his brother-in-law was promoted instead of Colombo, which had merits enough to have been a rear admiral. But politics always gets in the way sometimes.
So if I remember right, Argentina also had helped during, is it Gulf 1 or 2 as well?
Yes, Gulf 1. Gulf 1.
Yeah, Gulf 1. Yeah.
We sent 2 ships, the destroyer Brown and another one which I don't. And creo que la Spiro, I think.
Spiro, yes.
I think the Spiro. At the time, the Commodore in charge was Captain Rosenthal. I know his family very well. A great guy. Later rear admiral. They well, at the time our ships were brand new, so they were able to operate with the British as an allies and the US, in equal terms. They didn't have any problems, operational problems. The ships worked well, the crews were well, everything.
We lost an helicopter there.
Yes, well, they had an Alouette.
We lost an Alouette.
We lost an Alouette, but the ships were brand new. That's a good thing. At the time, they were very brand new.
Were they mostly doing like picket duty?
No, they did what the Stark had to do. In the Persian, they were in the Persian Gulf, controlling the merchant vessels. Interdicting the merchant vessel. They did it with about 200 ships, with good operational
joint command. Yeah.
Yeah, they were under a rear admiral of the U.S. Navy, I think. I don't remember, but they did very well. I read that he did an article on the experience in El Boletín del Centro Naval, which was very very good. Very good. He was very happy with the performance of the crews and the ships, above the expectations. They adapted very well to a very risky operational theater, and he was very happy with the commanders and the crews, and everything went shipshape.
So Mariano, how many more? How much larger do you think the Spanish version of Go Find Him will end up? Is it twice as large, or is it a few a few pages, or
no? I think it's going to be 40% larger.
Oh wow! Okay.
Around that. Not only because the new info, but also because Ajueta was willing to write personal experience in the book. So it's around 40% larger.
Okay.
I think we will include one or two new maps,
Hmm.
two or three new charts, and not nothing more. But it will.
Right.
It's not. It's going to be not centered also in anti-submarine warfare, but in submarine warfare. So certain experience of the crew members and the captain
Right.
will be there.
So
So
you're thinking of just adding a little bit in each chapter, like, or is it going to be its own chapter editions, or do you think you're going to
No, he said it
spread
was
it out?
updated. I think
Yeah.
Mariano said it was an updated version,
yes,
right?
no, I don't think I will include new chapters, but
Right.
engrossing the
Right.
the ones existing. But
Very
because
good.
I don't want to change the book or write a new one, but
Right.
uh,
Right.
changing certain point of views, certain optics, so not central in anti-submarine, but submarine, and
Right.
key certain key aspects of the life, for example, life
New,
inside the
new
submarine.
information, new information that
Yeah, the new
you came
for
to.
example, you have all the contracts of for the torpedoes, autos. The contractors are called auto, like auto,
Hmm.
the German name, auto one, auto two, auto three, though describing the contracts, how Argentinian signed the contracts, how many torpedoes was acquired, the problems, the tests of the torpedoes. Regarding torpedoes, the Mk-37, how the Navy went to the U.S. Navy yard. So the stride running torpedoes, the Mark 43, how the Peruvians sold 10 torpedoes. Regarding torpedoes, so this information is not in the original book.
Right.
Another part of the book is regarding the Ascuera, talking about the broken computer. What
Mm.
what the inside the submarine they did to repair the computer. So in Go Find Him is the computer broke, they try to fix the computer. Just all. Or in this case, is the
Uh,
computer broke in this, and this regards. They try
Oh
to fix
wow.
the computer this way, this way, this way, this way, this way.
Hmm.
And because the computer broke, we have that and that and that problem. And
Mm.
another thing, for example, all the
much. So
messages.
you're adding a lots of details to some things that you
Yes,
overlooked in the first
or
version.
for
Okay.
Right.
example, when the engines, when they are testing the engines, well, we are then testing the engines and we have this problem and this problem, and Ascuera send a message to the command, say, well, we have this problem in the engine and this one. A lot of more of details, really, a lot of new information, lot of personal aspects. So for example, in the inside the summer is 2 degrees Celsius every time, for example. So all the people are, well, this is
Hmm.
not a detail inside this book in Go Find Him, but in the new one is that. And I don't
Little.
think this is irrelevant, because if
Right.
you are like 40 days with 2 degrees, well, I'm not going to take that trip.
Right.
No, no,
So
no.
And that.
you're going to describe their battle conditions more
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
in detail, more in detail.
because the crew members say, well, this is relevant, and you're relevant. If you say, well, you know, to go to submarine, yeah, 2 degrees, no, not at all, no,
I
Hmm.
no, 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 no.
just for the record, I have a copy here for Peter of the Argentine version here of the
Oh,
book.
cool. Awesome.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is the Argentine version, which will be in the Mariano's book will be in the same collection, which is called Atlántico Sur, Colección Atlántico Sur,
Okay.
South Atlantic collection,
Very good.
which have lots of titles, even translations of British authors. So Mariano and me are, we are very proud to form part of this collection of many books, many authors, distinguished authors.
Uh, I-
That was for Mariano. For
so
Mariano.
no, no, I'm not. No. Speak for yourself. No, 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 no. I'm not writer. I want to read. I know I want to write, but well.
Yeah,
So
well, a good
Peter,
writer is a good reader.
no,
There
I'm
you
a
go.
good reader. I'm a good reader, not a good author. Peter, Ilion is releasing a book about anti-submarine warfare in the Mediterranean, tail ships.
Mm.
I'm
Mm.
looking for that book. And
Ah.
this is not publicity at all, but I know you are going to like that kind of book. I'm not
The
right.
title
Okay.
the title
I'm
is Tail Ships. tail ships.
Tail ships. Yes, it's the history of the U.S. Navy in the Mediterranean chasing Soviet submarines with towed arrays, brand new at the time. No. I'm it's in my wish list. So
And who is the author? Who is the author?
He's a retired U.S. Navy officer, intelligence officer.
You remember the name?
No, but look at tail ships, Elion, and
Helion. Helion is publishing it. Okay.
No, yes, I'm a man.
We have a 30% discount there. That's good.
No, really, I don't.
For
really,
authors,
really?
as you and me have 40% discount. That's good.
Really, I don't know that.
So I am notifying you because I already bought a book about the Russo-Japanese War. And I had a 40% discount.
Oh, I love the Russo-Japanese
one. Yeah. This is good.
I love that war. I love that World War Zero. You know, World War Zero.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I love that. Well, it's interestingly, it's a similar conflict, just in the fact that newer technology coming in. It's interesting that whole decades, the last two.
This book.
Oh, very good. Okay.
This book, Command of the Sea, William Pakenham and the Russo-Japanese Naval War, 1904-1905. It's very, very interesting. I had read a lot about the conflict because the Argentine Navy had two officers, one in the Japanese side and one in the Russian side. Later, Admiral Manuel Garcia, Domé Garcia. Later, Admiral Domé Garcia, which was in the Japanese side. So I wanted to know if he mentioned it in any way in the book. Unfortunately, he doesn't. But it's very, very interesting. All the reports that this Captain Pakenham sent to England. Very good.
It is. It remains somewhat analogous to the Malvinas conflict because there wasn't much else for surface action for a half a century, really. Ultimately, since the American Civil War and probably a little bit later. Maybe
it was like a Japanese Trafalgar, in Tsushima.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you read Semenoff's collection on that?
Report?
Oh yeah, those are good books too.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've read Julian Corbett's.
He was the official historian of the Japanese Navy. Of the British Navy, Navy.
I love.
Yes. Well, he's quoted here a lot by Quentin Barry, which is the author, a former law labor judge. Former labor judge, British labor judge.
Well, I will probably end there just because I have to feed my kids. So
okay. we release you. That's a good.
The sun
good
stays
argument.
Out. The sun stays out there later. Like right now, it's pitch dark. It's pitch dark here right now.
No, here we have a little light.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Well, thank you both.
Thank you,
Mariano. I'll be contacting you so that we can carry on with this project sometime. Okay.
Okay. Well,
take care.
Thank you,
Peter.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great talking to you both.
Thank you, everybody, and
thank you.
We'll be seeing you next time.
Yes.
Take care.
Take care. Bye bye.
Take care.